What is up, everybody, and welcome back to yet another RuneScape 3 Ironman progression update. This week's story starts here under the Barbarian Village in a place called the Stronghold of Security, where you would find me practicing necromancy skills on the NQ, where I would reach level 45 necromancy. But I couldn't stop there. I went all the way up to level 50, which was time for some sweet upgrades. So it was time to head to the city of Okay, now that we're here in the city of it was time to pay Killy a visit, so she can teach me the ways of upgrading my necromancy gear. But first, I will need to gather some supplies. The first on the list was an apple pie, so I had to think. I didn't have the farming levels to plant an apple tree yet, but then I remembered I could get some from the cooking guild. All I needed was a chef hat. Luckily, I heard I could get one from Beefy Bill's Supplies near the Lumbridge Mill, so it was off there, which is also located here on the map if you were ever wondering. I didn't know it was there until I stumbled upon it one day. Now it was time to head to the west of Varrock, where I would find the cooking guild. Luckily, they have everything I need to make this pie. A dish, ingredients like the apple and the cooking dough. So, I made the pie. Now, let's look at that list. Up next, it was time to find some Mogre's Flippers, which it was time to do a mini quest in Remington. But before I head to Remington, I needed to collect a chocolate bar here in the cooking guild to turn into some chocolate dust. I would also need a bowl and 2 buckets, one with water and the other filled with milk. Lastly, I will need to head to Canvas and get some needles. And now, with all these ingredients collected, I can officially say I can head to Remington and talk to Skippy. I found Skippy near the most south point of Remington. As I tried speaking to him, I found him slurring his words. I understood something about evil mud skippers. Regardless, I decided to splash him with some water to hopefully sober him up. Unfortunately, I had no luck. He suggested for me to get him a bowl of tea to warm himself up. So I went and made him some warm tea, but he then didn't remember. However, he did remember the chocolate milk and some snapgrass of all things. Anyway, I added the snapgrass to the chocolate milk and somehow he remembered everything. Also, if you're wondering where you can find some snapgrass, you can get it near the crafting guild near the hobgoblins. Anyway, back to the story. He explains that there are Mogres, which is a type of ogre that spends most of its time underwater, and that he used a fishing explosive that scared all the fish, and the Mogres found it extremely displeasure. So looks like I'm going to need some fishing explosives. Luckily, I know where I can find some. I went to Bertha and bought some fishing explosives from the Slayer Master, and then it was time to head back to Mudskipper Point, which is the most southern part from Port Sarum. After quite a few ogres slain, I finally got the flippers. Now I can go back to the city of and talk to Killy, where I would finally learn how to craft level 50 necromancy armor and weapons. Oh, did I mention I already did the rituals instead of fighting off those demons? I felt I was underprepared to face them off in combat at this time. Anyway, let's make that gear. After finishing making my new set of level 50 necromancy gear, I wanted to visit the skill tree for necromancy and spend some of the talent points. And in case you're wondering, you can earn points for training necromancy and whatnot back in the living world of Gillinor. Anyway, let's return to the NQ and get a few more levels. It was there I would reach not just to level 55 necromancy, but to level 60, which means it was time to make another set of armor and weapons. I know, you're probably wondering, so much necromancy, but really, I wanted to try it out for some bosses in the near future. Now let's go back to Killy and once more unlock my new set of gear. This time I will need a garden pie to learn more about the necromancy magic from NQ and do some more rituals or slay monsters for some souls. However, you already know what I'm going to choose, and that's rituals. I ran into the snag with the garden pie. I wasn't sure where to find some tomatoes, so I'll need to get a few more farming levels. So I went to harvest some crops and plant some more, and as I waited, I returned to the NQ and learned their magic. After learning the magic of the NQ, I went to harvest a little bit more, and I did my rituals as well. I turned them in, and you know the deal. I now had level 60 Necromancy gear. But unfortunately, that's going to do it for this episode of RuneScape 3's Iron Man. I have to say, I'm happy with all the Necromancy levels I got, and the next episode, I think something even bigger happens, for even more experience in a certain skill. So be sure to stay tuned for that. But one last thing, here of course is the bank and stats for this week's episode. But that's going to do it for me, everybody. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button if you like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya!